What is up, everybody? It's your boy TJ, aka Kill Murray 603, and welcome the fuck back. I'm trying to hype myself up, but outside is looking grim and snowy as fuck, and I wish that this would just stop already. It seems every single week when I do this podcast, it fucking snows. And it delays my plans, and it makes me pissed because I'm stuck inside and I'm cold as shit. And I'm supposed to go up to the White Mountains today and tomorrow and spend time with my nephew for his birthday, and now it's going to be a fucking disaster driving up that way because it's already up in the mountains, it's already snowy as shit, and now we got snow down here. No escape from the fucking snow. But whatever, we ain't here to talk about the weather. Fuck small chat. We're here to talk about movies. We're here to talk about badass things. I'm here to talk to you, and I'm here to review some motherfucking music. Speaking of music, both of the Just Plain Filthy showcases are completely booked up. In my mind, though, I want to have one more at least before the end of the year, preferably in August. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I want to get one of these out of the way before I talk to the venue and be like, another please. I would like another. But we will get down to the lineups once we do the plugs at the very, very end of this show. So probably like a half hour or so. I've listened to a lot of music in the past month, and I've watched a handful of movies in the past month that some might think are super fucking hipster. So I guess that's the theme of today. Movies and bands that you love that make you feel like a raging hipster. So let's fucking get to it on Killing Time with Kill Murray, brought to you by Just Plain Filthy.
What you doing, son?
Nothing. Just chilling. Killing.
True.
Dude, you know what absolutely just rips? A hot tub on the ocean with a beverage with my hottest home. Go ahead, babe, have a sip. Absolutely ripping, brother.
Multiple times during the year, I will go through these little phases where I'm just like super focused on one thing, like hyper fixated on one thing. And normally it revolves around music or movies. Like, what do you mean, TJ? What do you mean that you've just been watching nothing but black and white horror movies from the 60s and the 50s, and even once a movie from 1932, and none of these are in English? What do you mean? Yes, sometimes that happens. What do you mean that the favorite band you've been listening to was only around in 1998? In 1999, they dropped one 5-song EP and disappeared from the face of the earth. Sometimes it'd be like that, though. Sometimes it'd be like that. I feel like when I talk about the things that I'm passionate, even when I talk about wrestling, like, I'm not a fan of, like, Triple H or, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the way that I'm a fan of Jushin Thunder Liger and the Great Muta and Kenta Kobashi. Like, I'm hipster in the wrestling facet too. I feel like when I talk to people about the things that I'm passionate about, they just imagine this big ironic mustache and tall socks that are covered in taco cats. And you know what? I'll take it. Because if I have to be labeled a hipster in order to talk about the little guys, I'll take it. Everybody already talks about the big grand productions with multi-million-dollar production backings and all that stuff. Nobody talks about the hidden gems, and I've kind of made that my deal. Kind of made that my brand. So that's what we're going to do right now, because I asked you, what are some bands that you like or movies that you like that kind of make you feel like a raging hipster? And I talked about it on Facebook and I talked about it on Instagram. Some of you were nice enough to give me a reply. So we will talk about some of those. I'll give you my my thoughts if I have any, and I'll break down just how fucking bad this ends up getting for me sometimes. On my Instagram, we asked a question and we got a handful of responses back. Some of these are very unlikely. I think the pattern continues where when you ask people in the scene what their favorites are that they think are like good movies, you always get a weird pick. That we did this with Robbie Rowe and stuff. We did this with Blunt O'Keefe. I guess we're going to continue this. Luke from Lost Planet says he feels like a raging hipster because of how much he loves City and Color. But he also really loves the movie Trainspotting. That is one of those movies where I've heard the name and I've seen the movie poster for it and stuff, but I don't think I've ever watched it. I trust your opinion on though. Maybe next time I'm not in a horror movie mood, I will check that out. Deep pull from Luke from Lost Planet. If you've noticed this, for every time I talk about movies on here or I ask questions about movies, yes, I've seen a shit ton of horror movies and just weird fucking movies, but most of these movies have been things that nobody else sees, hidden gems, foreign films, just low budget films. A lot of the ones that people think are critically acclaimed, like Godfather or The Departed, or like any of these big critically acclaimed movies, I haven't seen. So I'm kind of like, oh, that's a neat pull. On to the next one. I have nothing to say. And I've heard a lot of things about Trainspotting, but I still know nothing about it and I've never seen it. So I'm like, God damn, I wish I had something to say. Michael Sativa came in and said, Daddy Daycare. I don't know if that's a hipster choice, but it's definitely a choice. I don't hear anybody talking about that movie since it like came out. And didn't that movie come out in like 2001, 2002? Hold on, I need to look it up because I was not prepared to bring up dates. And I was close. I just checked it. It came out in 2003. So I haven't heard anybody actually talking about this movie since like 2003. And you come out here with the Daddy Daycare? It's not hipster, but I respect it. It is a solid movie. Friendly Cass says Evil Bong. Now, Evil Bong is always something that I hear about, like it's a cult favorite, it's all these things, and it's got so many spin-offs and sequels and like little side movies, but I look at the like style of it and I look at all of the like clips and pictures I see from it, and my brain just won't let me press play. It does not look appealing to me, but you know, maybe if I'm ever in a room and somebody wants to watch it, I'll sit through it. But I don't think I got the guts to press play. But it definitely is a choice. It definitely is like a niche pick. I'll give you some hipster points for that. Hell yeah. Jaden goes Deftones and Donnie Darko. Throw some D's on that bitch. Yeah, these are definitely your picks. I know that you love Deftones, and I wouldn't say it's a hipster pick, because a lot of people nowadays still fuck heavy with Deftones. But I would say liking and loving the movie Donnie Darko, I can definitely see that creeping into a hipster territory. A lot of people reference that movie or talk about that movie or know about that movie. Not a lot of people just blatantly say they love that movie. So yeah, hipster points to you. But as we transfer over to Facebook, we got all my homies from the scene answering this question, and I gotta say, these are some good picks. TJ from the band TFR just said that he's a Mars Volta fan. I've listened to a little bit of Mars Volta. I don't like them as much as At the Drive-In. I feel like there's a big chaotic energy with At the Drive-In that I love a lot. Mars Volta is a great band, but a lot of the people that I'm friends with that like that band, I would definitely say are hipster adjacent. So points to you, even though points don't mean a fucking thing. Blunt O'Keefe back in this bitch saying that he's a big fan of Mars Attacks for the movies, but Leonard Cohen for the music. I feel like that's a very well cultured answer. Good job, Blunt. I wouldn't say that you're a hipster, but you're refined. You've got a refined palate. I like those answers. Jeff from Bastard Curse says that he really likes Death Haven. Okay, I fuck with them too. And Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I would say that's borderline hipster, but also, like, great fucking movie. I feel like it's still talked about enough and still culturally relevant and a big deal enough that it's not so niche and kind of like, oh, look at you kind of thing. But it's definitely not talked about enough, in my opinion. Death Haven, definitely not talked about enough. That band slaps. And lastly, before we get to mine, Dylan from the band Tin Man Sheet Metal Cock, which we will be talking about later on, says that he's a big fan of the Victory Records era emo stuff like Hawthorne Heights, June, and Silverstein. I mean, if you were still only listening to things like that, I could say hipster. But it's all good to go back and dive back into the shit that you grew up on. I mean, I have fond memories, and I still blast this all the time, of receiving a Victory Records sampler in one of these magazines that my dad was delivering for his work, and it had Atreyu, Hawthorne Heights, I think it's We Are Scientists or something, and like two other bands. I think one of them was Rufio. Yeah, and I just remember playing that over and over and over again on my boombox outside in the parking lot, like skateboarding while this music was playing. And I every now and then when I feel nostalgic, I put that shit back on, and I still listen to Hawthorne Heights fucking heavily. All their albums. They got better with age, honestly. So, I wouldn't say hipster unless this is the only kind of music you are currently listening to. And I know for a fact that it is not, because I fuck with your musical taste. However, so many of the bands that I've been listening to and the movies that I've been listening to over the last couple months have just made me feel like an elite level fucking hipster. So we just gonna run these down, and I'll even sprinkle some of them in there that I listen to all the time or I watch all the time. That kind of gives me this little bit of a hipster vibes, make me feel like I'll be judged a little bit. But you know what? I implore you to go out there and check out all these movies and all these bands, because in my opinion, and I'm a little biased, these all fucking rock. First off, for movies, I have to go with the movie City of the Dead from 1960s. I love this movie so much, but it's definitely a hipster pick. It's eerie, it's witchy, it's a cult movie, more or less, about a religious city and their ties to witches' persecution. And while the movie is awesome, there are two versions of that movie floating around. A colored version and a black and white version. And I prefer the black and white version because that gothic aesthetic really helps with the tone of the movie and the setting of the city, and also gives me vibes of another movie that I really, really enjoy called Black Sunday. I also really love every single one of the Critters movies. I like Critters 1, 2, 3, 4. I love the TV fucking series that they put out. I just love Critters. Those fucking crazy little dudes, the critter ball, the lore, the shape-shifting aliens out in space, the bounty hunters, all that shit. I love it. And this might be a blasphemous thing to say, but I think I like Critters more than Gremlins. Like, the only thing from Gremlins that I actually enjoy is Gizmo. Gizmo in the car, Gizmo dressed up like Rambo, all that shit. You take that away, and I mean, Critters has me across the board. If Critters had Gizmo, this would be a layup. And my final thing for movies, if you've listened to this podcast, you see my letterbox, you've seen any of my socials, you would know my favorite movie of all time is The Neverending Story. And I feel like that's a pretty hipster pick, honestly. Because everyone that I've talked to that knows and has seen The Neverending Story has just said how it scared them as a child, or it emotionally scarred them and they don't want to watch it again because when the horse died, they got really sad and they couldn't do it anymore. I put that movie on about 10 times a year. I put it on when I'm going through depression, when I'm like having struggles mentally. I put that movie on. It makes me feel better. I love it. I love the casting, the special effects, the story, all that shit. So yeah, I think I'm pretty firmly in hipster territory when it comes to movies. It's not going to get any better when it comes to bands, because I'm giving 5 bands, 3 that I consider as my favorites, and 2 that are just really fucking good. First off, we got late 90s emo band The Promise Ring. I don't hear anybody talking about them, but the amount of time that I spent with their music playing through my headphones is so fucking much, honestly. Another band, and you know it's going to be a hipster band when it has a long-ass name. They're called Empire. I Was a Lonely Estate. The best way that I can describe this band is like if you were listening to a musical diary entry. There are no choruses, and every song is essentially just like recollecting a memory, a time, and a place. What happened at that moment, how it made them feel. But it's very like Midwest emo, indie rock, twinkling guitars, higher pitched vocals. It's really good in my opinion. It would only be better if there were some choruses, but there's not, so yeah, boo-hoo. It's not going to be for everybody, but I spent like multiple summers listening to so much of them. There's probably also a couple videos online somewhere of me doing vocal covers of some of their songs. They're pretty catchy if you can remember all of the lyrics. And then the last 3, my favorites, I've talked about them before. We're going to do rapid fire. I'm not going to elaborate. Explosions in the Sky, Orchid, and Fleet Foxes. Those are some of my favorite bands across the board, and I feel like those were all pretty hipsters, so I think I'm justified in feeling like I need a big old mustache and fun socks. That's very hipster. But enough of me. Let's get right to where most of you come from, the music. Australian deathcore band Xenobiotic just dropped their newest album titled Dante, and god damn is this fucking good. This is a must listen for fans of bands like the Black Dahlia Murder, Mental Cruelty, or even something like Skeleton Witch, as all the influences are clearly there. The dark, evil ambience, the lyrical themes, the shredding guitars full of solos and all that jazz, fast as fuck drumming, bassy production, everything clean as fuck. Like, I cannot put over this album enough. It just dropped like 3 or 4 days ago, I believe. So it's brand new. Get out there, check it out, and be the coolest person among your friends. Tell them about this shit instead of the other way around. Be a fucking savior. I would honestly give this album a solid A+. Like, I have no qualms with this. This is just great shit. New EP just dropped from Georgia Screamo revival band Rosemary Nods Upon the Grave. Just dropped today, and holy shit, am I impressed. I know that a band is going to slap when they have like a long, cool name and then like throwback aesthetics for their graphics. I already know, I'm like, don't even need to hear the music. I know it's going to hit. But I've heard this band before, And I really appreciated how, like, late 90s, early 2000s, they kept their sound. And the fact that they're new and they have new music coming out. Like, this makes me look forward to the future like nothing else. Stay with me here, because I know this is going to be a little confusing to some people who don't know the discography of these bands. But Rosemary Nods Upon the Grave, it's kind of like if Circle Takes the Square was sort of writing things alongside The World's a Beautiful Place. Like, it's very throwback, it's very dissonant, witchy, cult-like in aesthetics and presentation, but it also at times feels really grand and like building towards some pinnacle. I love it. I have nothing bad to say about this at all. And in all honesty, this far surpasses their first EP, which I loved a lot. I wouldn't say it's as good as the Xenobiotic album because that was just perfection, but as far as the style of music this goes, and like as far as like what they were trying to achieve with their aesthetic and their sound and their presentation, I think they fucking nailed it. And I would tell any of my friends that like this style of music, check this band out immediately. In the past 9 years, Heaven in Her Arms released only 2 songs. And I hate to say it, but they should have taken some more time because this new one is not it. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's bad, but the production is all weird. It's kind of all over the place. And like the parts that should stick out a tiny bit more don't. And the parts that should fall sort of to the background don't. It's kind of flip-flopped and it just does not impress me at all. I like the idea of it. I like the like anime metal, like something that sound like it's at the very end of Attack on Titan or something. But what we got was not good. And after all of this waiting, it's no, baby. What is you doing? I'm sure it's not terrible if you have like good headphones or something, or you're listening to it in your car. But from me, it's a no. I'm not even gonna play this, but like also while we're on it, the new Filth stuff, I can't get into it. I love the idea. I love this stuff they did last album, but I feel like the novelty has worn off and they just kept pushing in the opposite direction of where I wanted them to go. And I keep seeing it and I keep seeing my friends post it and being like, hell yeah, brother. I can't do it. Dustin, you're a fucking madman as a vocalist. This new stuff, bro, also gonna be a no from me. New England band Provenance just dropped a new track called Show Your Teeth. And listening to this, I am in love with the production, the levels, the song itself, everything but one key component. And it's not even a big deal. I'm sure the more I listen to it, the more I will appreciate it and get used to it. I'm just not a fan of it in this particular instance, is the snare tone. It literally just sounds like you're beating a book. And boy, my wife would hate that. Disrespecting books. She works at Barnes & Noble. She wouldn't be having any of that shit. But don't get me wrong. It's not bad. I don't hate it. It's just everything else in the production was like perfect. And then that little one thing, I was like, oh, it's not exactly how I would want it. Me being a picky bitch. But Providence went the fuck off with this. And I'm a big fan of when bands start off their song with just like a vocal clip that they can just like scream into the microphone and then the song starts, because then you can just place your shit fucking anywhere. Middle of set, beginning of set, end of set. They hear that little burst of energy on the vocals to start the song off. They know it's about to go the fuck down. And it did, because that breakdown at the very end, that was real good. And that's the one time where like the drums meshed with everything. So I was stank facing like a motherfucker. I'm like, ooh, this is big mean. Yo, shout out to the local scene. These motherfuckers always go off. Show your teeth and Providence as a whole. That's a fucking treat. So sweet, my probably already diabetic ass just got diabetes. Solid A.
That would put hair on your chest. That would put tongues in your asshole. That could put your grandmother in a nursing home.
Tomorrow night, March 7th at the Bungalow in Manchester, New Hampshire, we got Bad Move coming down here from Maine alongside Edict, Tar, Jarred Wired Shut, 6212, and the EP release show for the band Cleansed. It's $15, so get your ass out there and support local hardcore. March 13th in North Andover, Mass, Bars Over Bars presents J-Vibe, Ray Spider, Tito Moe, Luke from Lost Planet, Nim K, Lil Hart, Sativa Steve, Q Ferb, and myself. It is completely free. It is a great atmosphere, great drinks, great artists. You might see your new favorite artist. You might see a parking lot fight. But what you will see is a great fucking show. It's completely free. It is next Saturday, March 13th. And then the next day, March 14th, at Hotel Vernon in Worcester, Mass, we got Bastard Curse, we got Provenance, we got Fabricator, Rat Blood, and Bambino. It is $10 cover. It is 21 plus. It is going down at Hotel Vernon in Worcester, Mass. This lineup is fucking sick. March 17th on St. Patrick's Day, this is also in Worcester, Massachusetts, Bars Over Bars presents Femme Energy Hip Hop Showcase. For the queers, for the ladies, for the fucking community. It all goes down at Femme, featuring great artists such as Miss Laura Michelle, E-Dubs, Jazzy Bell, Brid, Kado Moreau, Militia Rashad, Nelf Waco, Cali Royale, and myself, Kill Murray. It is also free. Come out, dress in green if you want to get yourself a little prize, but come out anyway if you want to have a great night of hip-hop music. That is all I will be plugging right now, so please check out my socials at KillMurray603 for any other show updates. I will be posting more of them next week as some things go by. I will be posting more music reviews on the Just Plain Filthy Instagram and Facebook account, Just Plain Filthy 666. There's a lot of great music out there, a lot of it that I don't talk about on here, so please keep an eye out, keep looking, find some good fucking music, and have a great night. I'll talk to you next week.